Once again, welcome back to Carolina Wildside. I'm Miles Crosby. We're at the Southeastern Wildlife Expo inside the huge tent set up at Marion Square. Joining me right now is
Chris Page.
And once again, you're a biologist with the Department of South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, and your specialty is basically invasive species. Is that correct?
Correct. Aquatic invasive species.
Which would include, I guess, hydrilla, carp, that sort of thing.
That's correct.
All right, and I guess right now you're trying to educate people how we can avoid bringing in these nuisance species, or what you can do to help eradicate it in our waters.
Well, prevention and education is a crucial part of that. You have to let people know what's bad and what's good, and what effects it can have to actually monitor what's going on in the environment.
Originally hydrilla, how did that end up in our lakes?
A variety of sources. It's transported a lot of times by fishermen or hunters unknowingly transporting things on their boat trailers, on even their tackle sometimes may have had strands of it on there. And that's normally the way it comes in places.
And originally, where was it originally from?
Hydrilla is a plant species. It's basically from Asia, Africa area. It's problematic in some of those areas too, but it has a native, basically a way to get rid of it in those areas. It's got a predator to it.
Gotcha. Now, there was at one point a little bit of a controversy because I think ducks were using a lot of this in some of the lakes, and they found out that they had cleaned the lakes up so much that it kind of hurt some of the duck hunting. Is that right?
Well, that's true. It is a problem in that sense. We're still dealing with that same issue. We've since done a maintenance control issue where we've got a lot more information out there. Originally, there was about 750,000 carp stocked at the Santee Cooper lakes, and to be honest with you, it's probably a little too much. But at the time, you're doing research, it was a situation where it was the largest stocking in the world at the time. And you just kind of learn from your mistakes sometimes. Right now, the issue is the same thing. There's a lot of native vegetation that's come back, and we'd like to maintain that native vegetation while still allowing no hydrilla to be in the system. We know that's not a possibility because you're never going to eradicate it, but to manage it to levels where it's not problematic through some of those areas.
Now, when you release those carp, those are sterile carp, correct?
Correct. Unlike some other states, the carp we release are sterile. They're checked at least twice to verify the sterility.
Now, we have had some carp that have been able to get into some waters and reproduce. Isn't that correct?
No, I hope not. As far as I know, there's been no non-sterile carp released in South Carolina.
That's excellent. Now, what's some of the other invasive species you're trying to keep out of the aquatic areas?
Well, we've got a species called water hyacinth, which is a water garden plant a lot of people utilize, and they release it in the wild, and it has a possibility to develop. One plant can create an acre's worth of growth in about a month. One of the other problems that's been eradicated in South Carolina, it's a major problem in Texas and Louisiana right now, is called Salvinia molesta. With a name like molesta, you know it's going to be bad. It's an aquatic fern which doubles its biomass about every 7 days.
And what's the best practical tips we can tell the hunters, the fishermen out there, as far as what they need to do to protect our waters and try and keep these invasive species at bay?
Well, first of all, if you see something you don't know what it is, call us, or get a sample of it, let us know. We'll be glad to try and identify it for you, tell you whether it's beneficial, native, invasive, whatever it may be. Don't transport it, clean your boat trailers off. If you've got a water garden somewhere, we're not going to go in your backyard looking for it, but please don't release it in public waters or any area that may get to a public water. Like I said, prevention again is probably key to not letting this stuff spread and get our hand in some of the areas where we don't have it.
All right, once again, thanks for your information. Thanks for your hard work trying to keep our waters clean.
No problem. Thank you. Now we're right off of Marion Square over with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, and we're talking with Lori Ann Riggin, and she is very instrumental in helping our young people, our next generation of outdoorsmen, learn about the outdoors. What do you do for the DNR?
At the Department of Natural Resources, I am their aquatic education coordinator / natural resource school coordinator.
Great, and what all does that involve? I see that you have Camp Wildwood.
We have Camp Wildwood, which is a camp for high school students from 10th, 11th, 12th grade to help them get out and enjoy the outdoors. We also have tons of fishing education programs, one called SC Real Kids. There's Real Art for students, K through 12, so anybody in South Carolina can enjoy those. We also have a new program that's kind of like a magnet school where we're doing natural resources in schools. So we've adopted some public schools in South Carolina, and they're get natural resources in the classroom, field trips, and after-school programming.
That sounds fantastic. I was noticing some of the artwork, and it is over the top good. It looks like professional artists have done some of the art instead of high school students. Can you elaborate a little more on how these kids got so good at what they did?
Well, there's a lot of different kids that grow up and they have that natural talent. But we have a ton from here in Charleston, South Carolina, from the School of the Arts, and they do a phenomenal job. The art teachers really take the kids by the hand. We provide some pictures, some fish identification guides for them to go from, and then they take it from there. They let the creative juices flow.
I remember being in a high school, and there were a lot of poor outlets for my time, but this seems like a great, worthwhile thing for kids in high school to get involved in. How can they get involved with you guys?
They can join and find out more about the DNR's education programs by going to our website, which is www.dnr.sc.gov, and you can just click on the education tab and find out all about the different programs that we have to offer.
Great, Lori Ann. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.